Welcome to another episode of Tell Me Your Story. Episode 8, Dunia's Transformative Journey. Dunia, a beacon of empowerment, turned her personal challenges into a source of strength. Her son's life sentence from his involvement in a knife-related incident came after he himself was a victim of a knife attack. Despite unanswered calls for help, Dunia found a renowned sense of purpose in these trials. Her remarkable focus on empowering mothers, the bedrock of families, seeks to shape generations and reshape communities. In this episode, we explore Dunia's impactful journey, her unwavering commitment to translating her beliefs into action, and the transformative effort she has on lives, both inside and out of prison. Dunia's perspective is a breath of fresh air, emphasising understanding over judgment, and the power of compassion to break the cycle of crime. Join us for this inspiring episode as we journey alongside Dunia and witness the ripple effect of her compassion and determination. Welcome, Dunia. How are you?
I'm good, Daniel. Thank you so much.
So thank you for being a guest on the show. We're excited to have you.
Thank you for having me.
So we'll jump straight in. Do you want to tell a little bit about yourself, who you are and where you're from? Give a little context to our viewers.
Yeah, sure. So I am Kurdish and I came to the UK in 1995. And that's when I got married to my husband. And that was basically the journey of building up a partnership life, building a nest, having children and growing this family. And I would always say up until 2016, I was just a normal, ordinary mom who's doing her things. So I started with learning English. English is my third language. And I've done my degree in childhood studies. I've done my master's degree in youth and community work. I have 3 boys and 1 daughter and a grandchild. But up until 2016, it was all about family, career, and having big dreams for life. Until in 2016, things turned upside down and life showed us a different phase, the scary phase. And this all happened within few months. This was my eldest son, who's now serving a minimum of 22 years in prison. He got introduced to a group of young people, and within months, he was getting involved in some strange kind of, he was showing some strange patterns of behavior that was all new. And then up until August 2016, when he got chased and stabbed by a group of young men. And I received 1 text message to say that he is being stabbed multiple times, 1 inch away from being paralyzed. He's at the hospital. And then I had to deal with that trauma, with that shocking news. And then 4 days later, I received another text message to say that a group of young people, the new friends, and my son chased after a young person. He's been stabbed so many times and so dramatically lost his life. So this was the earthquake that really changed my life, and the sense of normality left forever.
I can imagine that must have been such a shock to have your life turned upside down like that.
It was very shocking because even with my work, I was a key worker, I was a youth worker. My clients were mainly looked after young people or unaccompanied minors. So I was the one helping them if I had few got involved in the riot. I had young people needed to go to police stations for other cases. But I never thought that it will happen to me and in a big case like this. So I know that the shock is still an existing thing.
Definitely. And I suppose that's going to be a trauma that you're going to have to deal with for, I suppose, a long time, because you still are serving a sentence as well, aren't you? So that must be terrible, especially from like being a mother. I have a son myself, so I could only imagine exactly what you went through. And just to be here today and to tell your story, I just want to thank you, because that shows real strength and courage. So since all this have happened to you, you've sort of you've wanted to go, and you've talked about you've realised the importance of empowering mothers. So what inspired you to take action then? I know that obviously your son's case and everything that happened was what really geared it, but obviously your experiences during that time had something to do with shaping what you're doing today.
Yeah, I mean, it all started from home. This exact place where I'm sitting, it used to be my L-shaped sofa. And I did nothing for that first year apart from grieving and crying and being isolated and just being full of anger. So I was really swimming in these this sea of heavy waves. And it was just one moment of download 1 year forward, when I was in the corner of on my sofa, and I was like, this is exactly where I am with life. I am stuck in a corner. And if I am asking my son on every visit to have faith and have hope and believe that this is not the end of it and you can still do something positive with your life, I'm basically lying to him, because I'm not modeling that to him. I have access to the basics, but when somebody is behind bars, they know that these are far from basic. These are the privileges, to have access to your Wi-Fi, to your phone, to your cooker. I was having access to all of this, and yet really, really stuck in life. And I saw the impact of my stuckness on my children. And from this moment, I made a decision to do something purposeful with my pain. And that was the beginning of me really having the intention of go out there and choose to be part of the solutions, despite what the community, what the culture, what the system tells us, being the failure side or the evil side of the story. I refuse to accept that, and I deeply believe that no, I have a different role to play in this matter. And then when I went out there and I saw other moms struggling with young people, with their teenage children who are already involved or at risk, then I learned about this whole new world, the world of families from deprived backgrounds, certain classes are heavily targeted by this reality. And it became even more alive for me to do something about it.
Wow, it's amazing that such a traumatic story and a traumatic journey that you've been on can actually bring you through and find a passion where you want to go out and really fight for people, so other people don't have to go through what you went through. I think that's commendable. So that's amazing what you're doing. So your son's situation was undeniably challenging. How has your advocacy work provided you with strength and purpose during these trying times?
So I, at the beginning, right from January 2016, this was my starting point of being on a journey of personal development, and that was my first NLP training, neuro linguistic programming, and that's basically about having more awareness about the way you think, the way you attach meaning to situations happen to you, how to use the resources available to you, having clarity about where your life is right now, where you want it to go. It felt like that life was preparing me for something really heavy in 8 months' time to happen to me. And having the knowledge and living the reality both together played a part in kind of helping me to navigate my way on this path. And at the same time, when I started delivering actually the work with people who have been impacted by this reality, it felt like this is a two-way experience. It's bringing healing or providing support to them, as well as feeling fulfilled within yourself. So it kind of erased the narrative of us against them. None of that exists anymore. It's just us. It's just us having compassion, willing to hear each other out, and using whatever we have in our toolbox to be there for each other, because end of the day, this is life, the ups and downs. So all I had to offer was, it wasn't a solution that deletes something called knife crime or youth violence, but it was just me saying to these other moms, I have been there, so come with me. I can tell you what the next step looks like. So don't do it the way I done it. Let's do it differently. So I don't know if I am answering the question, but this is how it felt. It all kind of started.
And I sort of resonate with what you're saying there, because even though my situation was different from turning my life around, when I started this training, the training I was learning was teaching me to support other people, but it was also reinforcing tools within myself, which raised my self-confidence, my belief, and it helped me go forward then, and it ignited my passion. So in that context, I can understand exactly what you're talking about, because I had a similar experience from a different outcome, from a different beginning, obviously, two totally different things, but I can understand what you're saying. So empowering mothers is a focal point of your mission. Could you share a story that illustrates your positive impact you've witnessed through your efforts?
So, for example, I can think of a mother who called me, and she had half of the story of mine, very, very similar. She had her eldest son, who was something between 18 and 19. Again, he was chased and stabbed in front of her house. And she was lost. She was covered in fear. She didn't know what to do with herself, what to do with the son. She felt like she's not being heard, no services, no support is available. So when she was telling me the story, I was seeing it, because I was there a couple of years ago. And what I was doing with this mother was just to focus on the importance of whatever's happening, no numbing to emotions. You are feeling things, allow your body to feel the stuff. Whatever happens, please make sure you are caring for yourself. Because if you fall down, your son is even more lonely now. The younger siblings are even more scared now. So it becomes more like a package starting from the mother. We understand that we can't control the world the way we want to, or we can't even control most of the things. But we can control what choices we are choosing when we are reacting to a problem. And it's so important to make sure at the time of crisis, mothers are looking after themselves. They are drinking, they are eating, they are having some quiet time just to allow the tears to roll down. And this in itself will allow some level of stability for this mother to be able to understand, what's my next decision? What do I need to do next? As well as guiding that this organization is a good place to approach. This is probably what your son is thinking. This is what the police are after. So it's sharing from my experience, as well as being there for the mom as a woman, to be like, I'm here, sister. So let's look after you while you are dealing with this hurricane.
And that is crucial in support, and that's not something you usually get from services when you go through an event like that. Especially somebody who's been there and understand that. It's the power of lived experience, isn't it? Being able to relate to somebody who's been through that and who can help guide you through that in the best way possible, even if it's from learning from our mistakes or what we did best, what we did wrong, and these sort of things are what make the difference. So again, like, it's just amazing what you're doing. And I think a lot of people forget about the mothers. And, mothers have other children and houses to keep running, as well as having to deal with whether the child is involved in something or is the victim of something. It's still a heavy burden for a mother, and a lot of the times they're forgotten about.
That's very true, because, for example, that first year when I was doing nothing apart from crying, I stopped celebrating the other kids' birthdays or attend their school events. What am I teaching my children when I'm showing up in life in this manner? I'm not saying I encourage mothers to act No, what I'm saying, feel the feelings, have your tears, feel whatever, the grief, the loss, the embarrassment, the guilt, all of this will bubble up. But at the same time, we need to remember that we are showing our children how winning is done, or we're going to be showing them that when life hits us, that's it, we stay on our knees. So which way do we want to go about it?
Yeah, and I suppose we, as parents, we're role models, aren't we? We're role models in our jobs to the people we work with, but we're also role models to our children, and they will look up to our behaviour. And a lot of the time, parents think, oh, they won't see or won't notice this and that, but children pick up on a lot of things, even down to your mood, don't they? Like, and they need that love, that attention, and because something else is going on in your life, their life doesn't stop. And it's a whole family that needs support and looking after when something like this happens, isn't it? Because it's every single person in that household that's feeling that pain. And yes. So shifting the narrative from judgment to understanding is vital. How do you approach changing people's perceptions, especially when it comes to young individuals involved in crime?
If we look at the world, the big world, and if we look at our little small communities, and with everything I have done over the past 7 years of daily reflection, of daily learning, in my opinion, most of the problems, or it's at the root of the challenge, there are two facts, in my opinion. One of which is living the half story. And it's my duty, it's my mission to create safe spaces to allow for the whole story to be said and to be heard. That's number one. And number two, again, at the root of lots of problems, is having lots of men who lives in boyhood mentality. And it's not to blame men. It's again this paradigm, the same way it's not helping women, it's not helping men as well. And with my work, what I am what I'm focusing on, and my hope and all of my energy is going towards this direction, is to allow space for the whole story to learn to hear each other out, to learn to put ourselves in the other person's position, knowing that life can happen to us anytime, at any given moment. And the other thing is to allow our young boys to learn the principle of transitioning from boyhood to manhood.
So, how do you see the connection between your work in empowering mothers and the larger goal of reducing youth involvement in crime, particularly knife crime?
So with my work, I work with mothers, as we discussed, but I'm also, whenever there is an opportunity, I go with other organizations, but my target is right now for me to be able to go and deliver my program, which I am designing now, and it is about helping men with maturity in their masculinity, is to work with men prisoners. And as soon as I step inside a prison and I start to introduce myself as a victim, we know what the restorative justice programs is about, is to explain to prisoners that what you have done, the pain that you have caused has impacted the victim and his or her family. And then for them to feel that they are sorry for the act and to have remorse, and this gradually helps them with the on the path of rehabilitation. But when I go and introduce myself as a victim for what my son has committed, they see their own mothers in me.
Yes.
And the impact is much, much deeper.
Yes.
And from this safe space where we become one, we speak the same language. It's not me victim blaming you prisoners because you have done wrong. No, it's me coming, and my son is one of you. And let's together shift this culture. When we do it in this manner, the impact is honestly it's on soul level.
So how did you feel the first time you went into that prison and you knew you was going to be delivering to men who had been involved in things such as this? Like, were you scared at all? How did your first encounter go?
For me, especially when I go to Wandsworth prison, I really enjoy it because at that particular prison, you walk on the wing, and that gives me a deep and experience of freedom because it shows me that this is what it looks like. So when my son says, I'm going back to my cell, okay, so it's a small room. When he says, I do my laundry, oh, okay, so that's how they do the laundry. When I hear the shouting noises over the phone and I see the guys now on the wing talking to each other and they are being loud, it just brings some sense of normality back to my life. So when I go and I deliver to these men, I just feel like I'm with my son. It feels so genuine
Yeah,
because I know for the vast majority of them, they were victim first, but no one was there. When my son was chased and stabbed, and he was 1 inch away from being paralyzed, until that day 4, when he took part in this horrible act, for 4 days, I was chasing and running, asking for help, crying for help, contacting this person, that organization, my GP surgery. Nobody was there. And I can imagine that when I go and I deliver to men prisoners, they were somebody like my son. And it it's hard when you get tangled up in this system. It's very hard to get out of it completely.
definitely. I totally agree with that. And I've experienced that with my own journey. And still, I'm 5 years since I've been to prison. I'm still paying things like fines and stuff, you know. So even though I'm a lot removed from that now, it still has an impact on my life today. So I know myself firsthand how bad it is. So knife crime is a pervasive issue. How do you collaborate with organisations and community leaders to collectively address this challenge?
I'll be very honest with you, Daniel. With regards to collaboration, at least for where I live, there's no collaboration at the moment. So I have started, let me take you back to when I started. I started in 2019. And in that 1 year, I have delivered program to 6 students to help them with transition into secondary school, because that's a very, very sensitive phase.
Yes.
I have worked with men prisoners as well as women prisoners. I delivered parenting workshop in North London. I worked with women who done their sentences and they were in the reintegration phase into the society. Public speaking, being on the media. I have done so much. I was really proud of myself as a mother with little ones still at home, and that wound very fresh. English being my third language, I was really active and I was very feeling fulfilled with the mission that I was on. Then 2020 to 2022, COVID hit, and it just took me out of the picture. And it's only since 2023 where I picked up myself again, and it was one of my biggest prayers got answered when I was accepted at Ep8's program. That's why
Wow.
Criminal Justice Alliance, to help people with lived experiences to create change within the criminal justice system. So it's now it's October, so it's been the past 10 months that I've been really working hard. Meanwhile, I've continued with my training. So I being a life coach, a trainer, wild voice facilitator. So I've been just adding more colors to what my program is going to look like. Just make it more alive, more fulfilling. It hurts me when I go to prison and I see all these gray color tracksuit on them. It's life for them, I guess, is that color. And with my program, I wanted to look like every other colors to boost some new energy into them. So when it comes to collaboration with other organizations, at least in my borough, I don't think I was or I am welcome because I come from the baddie side of the story. And when it comes to other organizations, I am actively seeking out to find collaboration work opportunities.
Wow, it's crazy how you say like you're from the baddie side and you're a mother, regardless of what happened. And there's so many mothers out there going through the same thing that need the same support and they're being overlooked because their son was the one who committed the crime. And that's not fair at all because we're all human beings, they regardless of whether they're victim or perpetrator, they're your child. You give birth to them, you've loved them, you've brought them up into this world. It's hard to see anyone lose their child or in any way. Do you know what I mean? Whether it's in through prison or death. And no, we need to support these women out there. And I just think that from what you've been through, it must have been a difficult journey, as being seen as, you're the mother of the son who committed this crime. Like, were you ever treated as such in that way, or?
I had examples of people like in meetings and events coming up to me, people in positions saying, we are very interested in your program and let's talk and deliver. And, very, very energetically, in one occasion, running towards me to get my number and then contacting them back and not even a response to say, no, thank you, we found a different organizer. To be a startup is a lonely journey. To be on this side of the story makes it even more lonelier. But to have a lived experience is a deep thing. To have a living experience is a different story. If my son was given 10 years and he only had few years to come out, I'm not sure if I would have had this same level of passion. But it became my life's work.
Yeah.
By God's will, should we live, and I pray that we do, I will be in my 60s when he comes out. So this became my life's work, and doesn't matter what the culture, what the system is saying, this is the path I have started and nothing is stopping me.
Well, hopefully now even like people get to hear about your organization out there and the help that's available and they start reaching out to you themselves, regardless of any organization helping them. So hopefully we get your name out there and what you're doing as far and wide as possible. So women know that and mothers know that there is an option and there is somebody out there who can support them and understand what they're going through.
Thank you, Danielle.
So looking ahead, what do you envision as the most essential steps for society to take in order to foster change, support mothers and combat the cycle of crime?
If I look at the big picture, it will freak me out. If I look at my micro level of the experience, I know that change is possible. And this is my strength point. This is where I start from. I know that shifting the mindset of one young person has endless ripple effect.
Yes.
And I know that giving one prisoner hope most probably will make the entire wing a safer space. So that's where I'm going with my work. It's one at a time, until I build my community. And my community is about the people who welcome the whole story, no judgment, no shaming. It's life. We make mistakes. This is, I know that this is what's differentiate us from the Scandinavian. When you ask them why your criminal justice system is like this, because they say, because we want to have good neighbors. They know that the ones behind bars are going to become neighbors at some point. The narrative here, unfortunately, is lock them in, throw the key away, you've done the crime, do the time, treat them like they are some horrible creatures that should never ever rejoin the society. And I think that's a very ignorant approach.
Oh yes, definitely. I think once people are going in and out of prison, that has a profound effect on their personality and the type of person that they turn into. If you treat someone like an animal, they'll become an animal. So like we do have to, and prisons do have to look at, it is about punishment, obviously, because people have committed a crime. We all understand that, but it's also about rehabilitation, and these people are going to be released, and we need to do the work that we can to help them be able to go out and not reoffend, be able to get jobs, be able to, live a normal life and understand themselves. So, as from what you've been through and for the work that you're doing, Dunia, I think it's absolutely incredible. And I think there's a lot of mothers out there who will relate to exactly what you've gone through. I just want to ask you, is there any advice that you want to give out there to mothers? And do you want to tell anybody if there's any way of anyone contacting you if they want to talk to you or collaborate with you? Have you got any way of contacting an email address or anything? And we can share that for you.
Thank you so much, Daniel. So to the mothers, I don't need to remind them. I know that they don't give up on their children anyway. So love yourself for being that. You are the symbol of unconditional love. And if there's one thing that saves our world with all the noises that's been happening around us right now, it is unconditional love. So well done you for having that inside of your heart, and please look after yourself. One of the prisoners was telling me, every morning I wake up, I go to the wing, to the corridor, I pick up the phone, I say, hello mom, you okay? If mom is okay, my day is good. So please look after yourself, whether, God forbid, they are behind bars or they are young and they are acting up. Love them. They will have to go through their path, they will have to see their journey. Love them and love you as well. And with regards to if somebody wants to reach out to me, I have got my basic website for now, which is A Life of Choices. And my email is just dunia@alifeofchoices.com.
Great. So, Dunia, again, I just want to commend you for the work you're doing after what you've been through, because I think you are an absolutely strong and amazing woman. So just again, I want to thank you for coming on the show.
It's an honor to be on this show, Danielle. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No problem at all. And, maybe in the future you can come back on and tell us how you're getting on with your project, because that would be amazing to hear.
Yes, that would be something to really celebrate.
Definitely. Okay, so I would just like to thank our viewers and our subscribers for tuning in and watching another episode of #TellMeYourStory. We will catch you in the next episode.